So very good evening. We are going to discuss about our new topic. It is nationalism. Can you see the slides? More number. So I found a Tamil term for these major topics. Then I put it in here. More number. Is it correct or Shamila? Is it correct or not? It is wrong or correct? In English, it is called nationalism.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Correct. Okay. Can you pronounce it, Shamila?
Yes.
How can
Desiyavadam.
Deshiya, no?
Vadam.
Vadam. Deshiya means in Tamil, Jatikavadaya in singular, nationalism in English. By doing this,
Yes, sir. Desiyavadam.
thank you very much, Shamila.
Yes.
I also study
Okay, sir.
our national language, but yes, one number. No, cannot hear. Please type your question. Yes, Shamila. Deshavada, de or te. THODE. Shamila?
Desiyavadam, sir. D.
D. Okay. Deshavada. Deshavada. It means think about our desh, right? It means think about our land. It's land or ourselves. It's called nationalism or Jatikavada or Deshavada. Okay, now you are more comfortable, right? So then you can understand what we are going to discuss. So then this is the introduction. First, we want to have interpretation of nationalism, right? I think you can see the slides, right? Please try to read the bullets. The first one, the term nation derives from the Latin word nasi. Again, I will repeat, the term nation derives from the Latin word nasi. It means to be born. The term natio referred a group of people united by birth or birthplace. A group of people which is united by their birth or birthplace. Therefore, the term nation implied a breed of people or a racial group. A breed of people or a racial group. But at that time, there was no political significance, right, on that term. So can you understand? The term nation derived or developed from the Latin word nasi. In Latin, the term nasi was used to denote the meaning of born. It means to be born. Then the term natio referred to denote to imply a group of people which is united by their birth or birthplaces. There's a group of people, they are gathered there, they are united because they thought that they had common birthplace or common origin, right? That type of group is called in Latin natio. In English, it means nation, the nation. Therefore, the nation term in English implied a breed of people or racial group of people. But at that time, ancient time, there's no political significance on that term. Is it clear? This is bit difficult topic, typical discussion. If you have any questions or unclear area, you can ask question, you can have clarification in any time, right? Is it clear? Dulhani? Sairi, Senali? Vinotani? Vinotani?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it clear for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. But look at the scenario, right? In late 18th century, it means at the time of industrial revolution. In late 18th century, the individuals and groups started to be classified as nationalists. They started to introduce themselves using the term nationalist, right? Therefore, until late 18th century, the term was not acquired political significance. At the time of 18th century, the term nation or nationalism, actually the nation, it did not acquire political significance, right? So in this slide, the points are very clear, words are very clear. There's no difficult words in this slide. You can easily understand, but beyond this slide, you have to think. There's one thing that's very deepest one, right? What is that? In late 18th century, it means at the time of industrial revolution in Europe. Industrial revolution. Industrial revolution. As the result of industrial revolution, bourgeois class was sprung up. Bourgeois class. Another term for bourgeois class is capitalist class, or sometimes it is called middle class, especially capitalist class. Marxist or classical political and economics, political scientists and economists, they use the term bourgeois class. Very simply, we can say capitalist class. So then, as the result of industrial revolution, this bourgeois class or capitalist class sprang up through the development of industry, through the development of capitalism in that society. This new class always supported to the development of nation and nationalism. Nation and nationalism. If we want to study Sri Lankan context, there are few significant studies have been done by distinguished scholars such as Dr. Kumari Jayawardena, then after Professor Navaratna Bandara, and few others. They studied Sri Lankan context, the development of emerging of new class or new capitalist class or bourgeois class. In English, Dr. Kumari Jayawardena wrote about nobodies to somebodies. Nobodies to somebodies. It has been translated into singular language. Sokkan lokkan uhati. Sokkan lokkan uhati. Nobodies to somebodies. Then Professor Navaratna Bandara, I think it is about his PhD in UK. He studied about the emerging of capitalist class at the time of British period in Sri Lanka. So if you want to study Sri Lankan context, how capitalist class or bourgeois class emerged and how does it relate with or how does it mix with the emerging trends of nationalism in Sri Lanka, you can read those books. But we are talking about the origin of this ideology, nationalism, in especially in Europe. What I have mentioned in a late 18th century, the term nation had taken political significance. It was parallel with, or it was simultaneously connected with the development of capitalism and industrial revolution in Europe, right? So what I mentioned before, bourgeois class or capitalist class is majority of that particular class is always supporting to the development of nation and the nationalism. Nation and nationalism. New business class was always supporting to the development of nationalism. And also I can say new business class is always supporting to the development of supporting to the extension of nationalism is always there in politics, right? Any questions, any clarifications from your side? Is it clear what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Who is talking?
Senali.
Yeah. Can you explain what I mean?
With the industrialization, there came a new class system, and they helped in the development of nationalism.
They means?
The bourgeoisie, the capitalists, Marxists, those people
Sorry.
who came with the industrialization, who came to power with the industrialization. Those bourgeoisie, capitalists, and the Marxists.
No.
No.
Do you think they are in same category?
No.
Bourgeois, capitalist, and Marxist?
No. The bourgeoisie.
Yes. I will say it again. As the result of industrial revolution, new classes emerged, right? At the top level, there is a capitalist class. Capitalist class. I mean, they are very rich people, right? Capitalist class. But there's a terminology to introduce them. It is called bourgeoisie, bourgeois class. Bourgeois class means capitalist class. Capitalist class means the class which is consisted of very rich people. Is it clear? They are in the top of the class system, right? Not the caste system, class system. Then the bottom of the class system, there is a specific class which is consisted of very poor people, right? Then there's a terminology to introduce them. It is called proletariat class. Proletariat class. Proletariat class means the class of the very poorest people, right? They are on the bottom. But bourgeois class, they are on the top. Later on, there's a new class on the middle, in the middle. They are called by the term of middle class because they are in the middle, in between bourgeois class and the proletariat class, right? So what we are talking about, bourgeois class, why we are talking about them? They are the group, they are the people who supported to the development of nationalism, to the development of nationalism. It is common scenario is in everywhere, right? Even in British period, even in today, the very high level, high caste capitalists, majority of them supported to the development of nationalism. There are few rare cases like Friedrich Engels, right? Friedrich Engels was also very rich people. He was in UK because he had a very big business in England, right? But he committed to establish socialism as a political ideology, as a political ideology, and the theory, and also philosophy. He aligned with Karl Marx and sacrificed his own things to the development of Marxism or communism. Right? That's very rare case. But majority of them, they would prefer to support to the development of nationalism. Right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Dulani?
Yes, sir.
Dulani? Hello? Sankalpani? Vinodani? Any problem? Sankalpani, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Who is this?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Yes, sir means? No, sir is coming from Sankalpani.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Yes, sir, no, sir. I'm asking, Do you have any question? Then yes sir means, do you have a question? What is that? Sankalpani?
No, sir. It's clear, sir.
Okay. Explain what I mean. Sankalpani? Hello. Sankalpani. Okay, Vinodani? Vinodani?
Sir?
Yes, Sankalpani. Can you explain what I have said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you explain what I mean? Can you explain? Can you explain about our lesson today? Vinodani? Hello. Vinodani? Sankalpani, can you explain? Oh, after a long
Yes, sir.
time, Pratibha is there. Can you explain bit about our lesson today? In your own words. What do you understand from our discussion? Hello. Okay, I will continue. You are not responding. Dulhani, I think she has left. Right. Then I mean, without having a proper understanding, we cannot go beyond. If I can say, I can read all these bullets and points, matters, and I can describe all these things. I can describe what the analysis I have, right? So I think it is useless without gaining clear and basic understanding about these points and these things. And we are just passing the slides. It is not useful. It is not fruitful. So that's what I want to check your understanding level. Then while checking your understanding level, if there is any confusion, then I would have the chance to clear them. I would have the chance to adjust them, right? I would have the chance to say it again. That's what I'm asking. Right, origin and development of the concept of nationalism. Right, read the bullets first, then I will explain. The word nation has been used since in the 13th century. But that time there was no political significance, which is referred to the term nation, which was referred to the term nation. The term nationalism was first used in print in 1789. It was firstly used in 1789 in printed media. Who did it? By the anti-Jacobin French priest Augustin Baruel. By the mid-19th century, anti-Jacobin French priest Augustin Baruel was the person who who printed the term nationalism at the mid-19th century. That was the first significance or first important publication of the nationalism. Nationalism was widely recognized as a political doctrine or movement, especially after the mid-19th century. It means after the French Revolution in 1789. After the French Revolution, you know who are the Jacobins? Jacobins means the political group who captured the government power in France after the French Revolution under the leadership of Robespierre, right? But Augustin Baruel was there. He acted against to the Jacobins. That's why he is introduced as anti-Jacobins priest. He was a priest, but he was there in anti-Jacobin fractions, anti-Jacobin groups, Augustin Baruel, right? By the mid-19th century, especially after the French Revolution, the term nationalism was widely recognized as a politically significant doctrine or politically significant movement, because nationalism developed into the most successful and compelling of political creeds. After the French Revolution, nationalism can be seen as most developed political ideology or political creeds. Creeds means another term for political belief or political ideology, right? Political creeds means political ideology or political beliefs. It means after the French Revolution, especially in the mid-19th century, nationalism developed very significant or important political ideology or political creeds. It helps to reshape the history in many parts of the world. Then after, nationalism is extended to the other part of the world, rest of the world, especially in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, because those continents were most of the countries of those continents were captured by the uh, imperialist powers. Then people, those who were in these areas or these lands, they were there fighting with their imperial powers. Then nationalism extended to those lands. Then the people, those who are in those lands, who were fighting against to their imperial powers, they accepted, they used this political ideology to gain power and strength to their movement, right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
What about the others? According to my understanding, this lesson is bit difficult than the others. We want to have very clear idea about this. That's what I'm asking. You understand? That's what I'm asking so many questions to check your understanding level, slide by slide. Senali, can you explain what you have studied from this slide? Especially, I want to check the last part of this slide. Hello?
Okay, sir. After the French Revolution, nationalism was widely. Yes, sir. Can you hear me,
Yes, can hear.
sir?
Yes, Sinan. Now it is okay now.
Okay,
Sinan.
sir. Do you? Yes, sir. Did you hear me?
Yes. No. It has been
Yes,
stuck.
I completed. Do you want me to?
Again, yes. Because it has been stuck. Can you say simply what do you understand?
You want me to explain it again?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Or shall I explain it again?
After the French Revolution,
Wait, Sinan, wait.
nationalism was widely. Okay,
Right? I will explain again.
okay, sir.
So after the French, very simply, I will say French Revolution was taken place in 1789, right? That's common. We all know about that, right? Then after the French Revolution, political power of the France was captured by a political group. That political group is called Jacobins. Their leader was Robespierre, right? Then Augustin Barruel, he was the priest. He was also there, but there was a group against with this new government, which is consisted of, or which is carried out, or which was carried out by the Jacobins under the leadership of Robespierre. It's clear now, right? Then Augustin Barruel, as a priest or member of the anti-Jacobin group, he published a publication in France. In that publication, he firstly used the term nationalism. That's what we are saying. After the French Revolution, at the time of Jacobins, the term nationalism had been taken a very significance. It is political significance, right? That's how nationalism has been taken into notice to the rest of the world. After the French Revolution, there were two groups, Jacobins and anti-Jacobins. Jacobins were there as the rulers, anti-Jacobins were there as the critics of the Jacobins. Augustin Barruel was there in anti-Jacobin group. He used the term nationalism in his publication with the modern sense. From that incident, from that day, rest of the world followed the term nationalism. They used the term nationalism to introduce their political activities and their political movements, right? Then after, the term nationalism extended or expanded to the rest of the world. expanded to rest of the world. Especially the term nationalism quickly expanded to the areas which is called Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Because later on, after French post French Revolution period, particular areas of those continents, Asia, Africa, and Latin America, majority of the countries were captured by the imperial powers like Britain, Spain, Dutch, Belgiums, and so on, right? Then the people, those who were there in the particular countries, for example, Indians, Sri Lankans, then after the people, those who are in Tunisia, right? So Tanzania, then the Zimbabwe, many areas, right? Then what they started political movements against to their imperial powers. They wanted to fight with imperial powers and win their independence. They want to have their independence, right? That's what they created their political movements. That's what they want to have political ideology. Then the nationalism just went there and combined with these political ideologies. Then the nationalism nicely meshed with the political ideology, political activities and movements which were there in Asia, Africa, and Latin American continents against two imperial powers, right? That's how nationalism came into exist in our areas, Asian context, Latin American context, and African context, right? That's what I want to explain, right? The idea of nationalism was born during the French Revolution, as I mentioned before. Previously, countries had been thought of as realms, principalities, and kingdoms. Before the French Revolution, the countries were named, countries were identified. Countries were identified as realms, principalities, or kingdoms, right? But after the French Revolution, the countries were identified as states or nations. The inhabitants of the countries were understood as subjects, not the citizens like today. Before the French Revolution, the countries were identified by the name of realm, principalities, and kingdoms, not by the nation or country. The citizens, or I mean individuals, inhabitants of those particular countries were identified as subjects, not the citizens. That's very pathetic situation, right? Their political identity being formed by intelligence to a ruler or ruling, their political identity being formed by allegiance. Allegiance means aligned. Allegiance to a ruler or ruling dynasty, rather than any sense of national identity or patriotism. Before the French Revolution, people were considered as material objects, material subjects, right? They were not considered as citizens of very a significant nation or significant country. They were there as subjects, not citizens. They were identified by the name of their king or ruler, by the name of their king or ruler, because there was no sense of national identity or patriotism at that time. However, the revolutionaries in France rose up against to Louis XVI in 1789. Then after French Revolution was taken place, they did it in the name of the people. They means the French people participated in the revolution on the name of the people and understood the people to be the French nation. Before the French Revolution, there was no sense of nation, a politically significance of the term. The countries were not considered as nations. The individuals or peoples were living there. They did not consider as citizens. They were considered as subjects. But in 1789, at the time of French Revolution, the people, those who were in France, they contributed to continue the revolution, French Revolution, on the name, in the name of the people, in the name of the people, and understood on the name of the people, and understood the people as the French nation. Then after, the term nation has been taken very, very important term, right? Very important term after the French Revolution, because French Revolution. Then nationalism transformed the idea about subjects of the crown into the citizens of France. Before the French Revolution, people were the subjects of the crown, subjects of the Louis XVI. Then by the French Revolution, they converted into the citizens of the France. Then the nation should be its own master. Who are the masters? The people. Nationalist ideas spread to Latin America. As I mentioned before, in the early 19th century, Simon Bolivar, the liberator, led regulations against Spanish rule in what was then New Grenada, now the countries of Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador, as well as in Peru and Bolivia. That's how nationalist idea spread into the Latin American continent. Right, that's what we want to discuss. That's how nationalism, the concept of nationalism was originated and developed, aligned with the industrial revolution in Europe. Then after, it has taken very important political significance after the French Revolution, because French people, they did the French Revolution by the on the term of name of the people, or on the belief of name of the people. That's how.
Sir, we
That's
can't see the slides.
okay. I have sent all these things. You
No,
can
no.
see.
Now, I mean now.
Now you can't see.
No.
Yes, yes, that's true. You can't see the slide, but I have sent all this. I will send all these things. Just
Ah,
just forget about, right? So
okay.
what I'm saying, just summarizing what we talked today. The term nation was derived from Latin term natio. It is about breath or something like that, right? It is about gathering or birthplace or something like that. Then after, aligned with European Industrial Revolution, the nationalism started and grown up. But after the French Revolution, nationalism has been taken a very significant political importance, politically very significant term, because French people did the French Revolution on the name of the people of the France. It means they understood themselves as nation. That's why Baruel wrote about nationalism at the first time. That's how it was originated and developed. Then after, it has been expanded to the Asia, African continent, and also South uh, American, Latin American continent, right? So thank you very much. So Zoom disturbed a lot today. What we can do, no? We have to tolerate uh, any I mean, discriminations coming from the Zoom. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention and asking questions and giving clarifications. I will send the slides, then please read them. If you have any questions or clarifications, please bring them into discussion forum. Thank you very much for your kind patience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.